لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. ثم الصلاة والسلام على النبي الأمي القرشي الهاشمي الأبتهي الخاتم لما سبق والفاتح لمن غلق، المعلن الحق بالحق المعلن الحق بالحق، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم مصطفى محمد. وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين، غاصبي حقوقهم منكري فضائلهم، من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد، وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم من يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is a verse from chapter Hujurat, verse number 12, where yet another important issue Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala points out at, which is for us to learn from, and it is the issue of dhann, su'ud dhann, which is suspicion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhann. O believers, try to refrain from suspicion, most of suspicion. Inna ba'da dhanni, because most of these dhann you have to refrain from, because few of these dhann and these suspicions are ithmun, they are sin. Wala tajassasu, and don't try to spy on each other. Wala yaghtab ba'dukum ba'da, and also do not backbite, avoid backbiting. Now this is one very important issue which I think almost everybody goes through, having bad opinion about someone. There is a good opinion about someone and there is a bad opinion about someone. Now before we get into this, let me just clarify these words which are in Arabic. There is a yaqeen and there is a shak and there is a dhann. Now dhann is something in between yaqeen and shak, certainty and doubt. There comes in between certainty and doubt, there is suspicion. For example, if I see someone coming from far away and he is talking to me, he's waving towards me and he's saying something, and I can make out that he's saying something, but I don't know what he's saying. Now, when I see that person coming to me and he's talking to me, but I cannot make out what he's saying, if that person, in my view, is a good person, I'm going to have a good opinion about what he's talking to me. I might say he's saying salam to me, or might be greeting to me, or might be asking how I am. This is how I perceive this situation. But if I have a bad opinion, and if I have bad terms with this person who's talking to me from far away, and I don't know what he's saying, then I will have a bad opinion, and I will start having suspicions that he might be abusing me, he might be cursing me, he might be saying something bad to me. This perception that we make in our minds, it is between certainty and doubt. Either you are certain of something, then you act upon it. If you have doubt about something, don't act upon it. Sometimes a person is in between certainty and doubt, and he makes an opinion. If the opinion is bad, it's known as suspicion. It's known as dhan. Now this dhan can be good and bad. There is husn al-dhan and there is a su' al-dhan. If I perceive and if I understand, if I make a good opinion, it's known as husn al-dhan, and this is recommended, this is good. If I don't know something, I have to have a good opinion about that person. And if I don't know about something, I have to refrain. Why? Because inna ba'd al-dhanni ithm. Many of these dhan and many of these suspicions are sin. Now these suspicions are of two types. Sometimes a person is having suspicion regarding mu'mineen, other people, and sometimes, God forbid, sometimes a person is having suspicion regarding his own creator. He suspects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doubts Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's having this su'adhan regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh, why Allah is doing this to me? Why Allah did not give it to me? Why Allah gave it to the other people? Why this hardship is falling upon me? Why He took away a loved one from me, not from someone else? He is not just, He is not adil. All of these things are su'adhan billah. This is suspicion regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these suspicions gradually lead to shirk and kufr. This is how important this is. This is how serious this disease of heart is. In one of the narrations, Imam Rada alayhi salatu wasalam, Imam describes this su'adhan billah. And Imam says, أحسن الظن بالله فإن الله عز وجل يقول. Refrain from having bad suspicion towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah says, Inna ana inda dhanni abdi bi ana khayran. I am as my servant think of me. Whatever my servant thinks of me, I am like that. If he expects good from me, I am good to him. And if he expects bad from me, I am bad to him. This is the effect of su'adhan billah. A person is supposed to have good suspicion, good opinion about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There might be tests in our lives, but we are supposed to refrain from such su'adhan. And in another narration, Imam says, Wallah الذي لا إله والله الذي لا إله إلا هو لا يعذب الله عز وجل مؤمنا بعذاب بعد توبة واستغفار. This is very serious. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there might be questions arising after you listen to this hadith. Inshallah, I will answer if there is anything in your mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Imam says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la ilaha illallah, Allah, that there is no God except Allah. He forgives a person. If a person repents and is asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives that servant and that person who's asking for forgiveness. But He will not forgive two sins. What are the two sins? إِلَّا بِسُوءِ ظَنِّهِ بِاللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ وَإِغْتِيَابِهِ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He is not going to forgive su'adhan billah, bad suspicion regarding Allah, and ghibat regarding mu'mineen. These are two very serious problems in our societies, in our communities. We'll talk about ghibat inshallah in the coming nights. But today, because su'adhan is something which is prior to ghibat, we have to understand su'adhan so that we can understand ghibat properly. Now, this su'adhan, if you look around you, there are so many issues going on because of there are so many arguments, fights, relations ending, marriages turning into divorces. Why? Because of su'adhan. Many of the times these things happens because of su'adhan. And this doubting, this having suspicion, this having bad opinion. Sometimes, a person might not have bad intentions regarding me, but I am sitting thinking for myself that no, he's thinking bad of me. He's plotting against me. He's trying to do something. He's trying to bring some harm to me. This is su'adhan. And this is ithm, this is gunah, this is haram, this is a sin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly in the Quran tells us to refrain from such perceptions and from such suspicions. Sometimes if you are having something, some problem is there, you have a doubt in your mind, you go and ask to that person, do you have this intention? Have you done this to me? No, I will not ask that concerned person. I will go ask and tell and ask everybody other than that person himself. This is something very bad. This is something going on right now. This is something we are experiencing right now. If I have a problem with you, I will go ask and discuss this problem with every other person in the community except you. If I go to you and if I ask you, if I clear my doubt, if I come to the level of certainty, I will know what is good and what is bad. I will not have this suspicion. I will not have this doubt and this bad opinion about someone. This is one of the reasons why we are facing these challenges today. There is no trust. There is no trust. The relations today are weak because of these issues, these ethical issues. Now, this is su'a dhan billah. Now, sometimes this su'a dhan is regarding mu'mineen, where the Holy Prophet says, Inna Allah ta'ala harrama min al-muslimi damahu wa malahu wa an yadhanna bihi dhanna su'. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given respect and dignity to three things. The wealth of a moment, the life of a moment, and the dignity of a moment, the respect of a moment. And it is forbidden in the eyes of Allah to have bad suspicion regarding a mu'min. That means if I'm having a bad suspicion, if I'm having this su'a dhan regarding a mu'min, I am actually disrespecting that mu'min, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala respects. And if I am having these bad suspicions and I'm having this su'a dhan, I need to clarify them. I don't have to hold them back. Slowly these suspicions are going to turn into grudges. And then, it is going to come out somewhere. And you won't even know why you are reacting in this way, because you are having this perception. You are having this su'a dhan. Sometimes people sit and they make up stories in their minds. Now, I don't want to say women, they are mostly doing this, especially the wives. The husband, poor guy, he did not mean to say this. No, you must have meant it. You have this in your mind. No, it is not in his mind, poor guy. Give out this, this is suspicion. This is su'a dhan. Try out, listen out to people. And the husband, both the ways. It goes both the ways. Now, some of the men are also, getting these attributes from women also. So some of the men, they are acting like ladies now. Unfortunately, they are not acting, serious in their lives. You are mature people. You need to resolve issues. You don't need to be part of the issues. Some of the elders, sometimes we see, they are having these suspicions. They make up story in their minds. Many of us, we are all into this. We are all into this. I don't want to categorically say someone is there and someone. Everybody goes through this. Everybody is having this suspicion. Now we have to clear our minds and hearts from this suspicion, because it is going to lead to some very serious problems like shirk, problems like kufr, and we might not even understand. There are riwayats and narrations where it is said, Imam Ali, Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam, Imam says, Iyaka an tusi'a dhan. Beware, don't go into all this dhan and don't go into this bad suspicion. فَإِنَّ سُوءَ الظَّنَّ يُفْسِدُ الْعِبَادَ وَيُعَذِّمُ الْوِزْرَ. Imam says this su'a dhan will corrupt your worship, your ibadah, everything. All of these prayers, these namaz, the roza, hajj, zakat, khums, this and that. Everything is going to be corrupted and greatly will increase the burden of your sins. The su'a dhan, simply, you're not doing anything. Simply you are having a bad intention regarding someone else. While that person is not that, he's not having that intention regarding you. So this su'a dhan automatically starts to corrupt our ibadat. The more we do, sometimes we think, we are praying, we are fasting, we are supplicating, we are going on hajj, we are giving our khums on time. Everything is perfect. Your furu'at ad-din are perfect. But there is something missing and you don't understand what wrong I'm doing. Maybe it's su'a dhan. Maybe. You never know. These ethical problems, sometimes they destroy our worship and the effect that I need to get from my prayers. Inna salat mi'rajul mu'min, inna salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Why is it not affecting? Why this prayer is not having effects on our lives? Because this su'a dhan or maybe other diseases are corrupting these prayers. They will not have their natural effect. And then the Holy Prophet says, Utulub, see how important, this is the beauty of the religion. Utulub li akhika udhran, fa in lam tajid lahu udhran, faltamis lahu udhran. Subhanallah. The Holy Prophet says, if you have suspicion regarding a mu'min, Utulub li akhika udhran, try to make an excuse on his behalf, on your mind. Maybe he said this because of that reason. Try to make an excuse for that mu'min. This is the amount of intensity and respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants we to have in our lives. اطلب لأخيك عذرا. Try to make some excuse for your brother. فإن لم تجد له عذرا. And if he does not, and if you do not find an excuse for him, فَلْتَمِثْ لَهُ عُذْرًا. Try to still come up with some excuse. Try to make some excuse. Maybe he did this because of that reason. Don't jump to conclusions. No, he did that because I have this in my mind. And then you start fighting and arguing. No. You are ending relations like this. And sometimes people say, I don't care about this relation. I don't give a damn. I don't really care. They don't concern me. They don't, feed me, and I don't feed them. This is not the way how life goes on. This is not the environment Imam alayhi salatu wasalam wants us to live in. The Holy Prophet, the sixth Imam again says, and this is more intense. Imam says, إِذَا بَلَغَكَ عَنْ أَخِيكَ مَا تُكْرَهُ. This is very, this hadith, if you just remember and memorize, the boys and the girls, if they can memorize this, and remember for your life. إِذَا بَلَغَكَ عَنْ أَخِيكَ مَا تُكْرَهُ. If something reaches you from your brother or from your sister, if something reaches you which you don't like, ma tukrah, you did not like, you did not appreciate, some news, something came, some word came to you from your brother, ma tukrah, you did not like that, فَطْلُبْ لَهُ عُذْرًا إِلَى 70 عُذْرًا. Try to come up with 70 excuses for him. Try to come up with 70 excuses. We don't even try to come up with one, and we try to jump to conclusion, right? We try to show our courage. We try to show that we are something. Oh, he told me this, I will show him. That is not the way. That is not the way. The humbleness and the humility that the Holy Prophet wants to show regarding mu'mineen, it's different. The whole concept of our life is different. What the Holy Prophet is teaching us, what the Ahl Bayt al-Islam are teaching us. فَطْلُبْ لَهُ الْعُذْرَ إِلَى 70 عُذْرًا. Try to come up with 70 excuses that he might have, said this because of that reason, because of that. Just try to justify what he did and what you did not like from that person. فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدْ لَهُ عُذْرًا. And even after trying to find out 70 excuses to justify what he did, فَقُلْ, if you could not come up with the 70 excuses, فَقُلْ لِنَفْسِكَ. And if you might have come up with 70 excuses and you're not satisfied, فَقُلْ لِنَفْسِكَ. Tell yourself, لَعَلَّ لَهُ عُذْرًا لَا نَعْرِفْهُ. Maybe he's having some excuse that I don't know of. After 70 excuses, if you cannot find one single excuse, tell yourself, maybe he or she is having an excuse that I am unaware of. I don't know. Maybe he did this because of some excuse. I need to go out and find out. I need to talk to him. I need to talk to her. I need to clarify my doubt. I need to come to a level of certainty. I cannot hold on like this with su'adh dhan. It is going to corrupt my iman. It is eating up my iman. It is destroying me spiritually. This is the attitude of a mu'min. This is a mu'min behaving in an environment which we want to create, an environment where Imam can come and he can reappear. Some of us, we still think, we see Karbala, so many people, millions and millions of people going, Imam still is not coming. Why Imam's, the Dhuhr is not close enough? Why? Because of these things. Our environment is not that environment where we can invite our Imam. Everybody is having su'adh dhan. Everybody is having grudges. Everybody is having problem with someone else. This is not the environment that Imam likes for us to have. This is not the environment that Imam wants to come in. We have to first create an environment which is a Mahditv environment. Now there are some causes why this thing comes up, why these issues they arise. Now first thing that Imam points out is ar-raybatu tujibu li dhanna. This rayb and this doubt, keeping yourself in an uncertainty, in a level of uncertainty, will create this su'adh dhan. If you are having doubt regarding someone, go clarify it. This is the best way to do it. And Imam alayhi salatu wasalam says, doubt leads to suspicion. Second thing, very quickly, bad friends and bad company. One of the topics that I want to, try to discuss, inshallah, maybe in the coming nights, is how to choose your friends and company. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam says, مُجَالِسَةُ الْأَشْرَارِ تُورِثُ سُوءَ الظَّنَّ بِالْأَخْيَارِ. sitting in the company of evil people, wicked people, will lead to suspicion towards the righteous people. So you have to refrain from people. Sometimes, our company is such, maybe we are enjoying, but we don't know that company, that friend is really harming us. When we sit with the second person, there is always a person in our gathering who talks about a third person and keeps on talking bad mouthing about someone and creating doubts in our minds regarding the third person. This is again something haram. This is again something bad. If a person is trying to create doubts about the honor and respect of another mu'min in the heart of a mu'min, creating su'adhan, he is also involved in that guna, in that sin. Because he's creating that doubt. He's leading to those doubts. Imam says, try to refrain from such people. These evil people, they will eat up your iman and you will never know. Especially to the boys and the girls, they have to select carefully whom they are roaming around with, whom they are sitting with, whom they are taking their friends for. Now, third important thing, Imam says, sometimes a person is so evil that he thinks, because this is your perception, you are making up a perception, you are suspecting someone, you are having a bad opinion about someone. Why? Because that person himself is like that. Imam says, لا يظن بأحد خيرا لأنه يراه إلا بتبع نفسه. If a person has a bad opinion about someone, why? Because he sees people through the lens of his own corrupt nature. Sometimes people are making bad opinions about other people because they're bad. They need to think for themselves. Now, when we talk about these things, the first thing shaitan tells us, Maulana is not talking about you, he's talking about someone else. So don't let shaitan tell you this. I'm discussing about everyone. I'm telling myself first. Because these things are so natural and these things, they are so common. I'm not a saint. I'm not an angel. I'm also a human being. I'm talking to myself first. So that a person needs to purify himself first. Everybody has to think for himself that these problems, inshallah, nobody is having these problems. And he also, again, needs to understand these ahadith so that this problem does not come into our lives. Now, Imam says, a person sometimes, if he's having the su'adhan, rest assured that he is the same person what he feels about the other person. If he's feeling bad about someone else, he himself is evil. And sometimes we don't know that we end up destroying lives. Sometimes two people are fighting, they're having an argument, and the third person jumps in to resolve the issue, and that third person becomes a part of that situation then. This is again worse. Now, let me tell you a story. One of my teachers, he used to mention this story. I think it is there in books. I haven't seen it in any book, but it is there, I'm sure. It is, I think, regarding one of the villages in Iran. There was a Imam Jama'at in a village, and he used to lead prayers in the mosque. One day, this Imam Jama'at, he came running to the mosque. It was azan, and he came running and he went to the washroom, to the toilet. And he went inside and he came outside, rushed to the mihrab, stood on the musalla and started his prayer. One of the person in the mosque, he saw Imam Jama'at coming out of the toilet without performing wudu. He went to the musalla and started praying. And he got annoyed with this and he said, what a munafiq he is. He's telling us to do wudu and pray, and he himself is not doing wudu and pray. So he became furious. He did not pray behind him. And after the prayer finished, he went on telling everybody, bad mouthing about this Imam, that he is a corrupt guy, he doesn't do wudu, and I just saw him, I am the witness, and I am adil, and I have seen him with my own eyes. He came out of the toilet, he did not do wudu, he straight away went to lead the prayer, and he's praying without wudu. So the word spread, and it went on spreading, and slowly and gradually it came to that Maulana and that Imam of the mosque. And when he heard about this, he was very disheartened about what perception they were having about their alim. We should respect our scholars. I'm a scholar, I don't want to talk about this, but every Jamaat, they need to respect, and they need to have now maybe inshallah some other time I'll discuss this in detail. But sometimes we take things for granted. We do not give priority to our deen and to our scholars from whom we are taking our deen from. Now this person went on telling everyone, and everybody came to know, the whole village came to know about this, and they were furious, and stories were made up. And in the morning, it was decided we go to the Maulana and we tell him, what did you do? And before that, he came to know about this, and he was very upset about the situation that people are having this amount of su'al dhann regarding him. So he decided to leave that place, because if people are not respecting, he decided to leave. So he went away. Now time passed, and they appointed someone else. And this person who went on spreading this word and spreading this su'al dhann, one day he fell sick and he went to the hospital, got injected, and he was going for his own prayers. He made wudu and he was going to pray, and he thought, I just got injected and I had an injection. Let me go just check myself if I'm having a stain of blood, or my clothes are pure or not. If there is a stain of blood, I should remove it before going. So he went to the toilet. He saw there is nothing. He came out. He went inside the mosque. As he wanted to do a takbir, Allahu Akbar, he came to his senses. So subhanallah. Maybe this is what happened with that Maulana. And I was accusing him that he did not do wudu. Maybe he went inside. He did not do anything that would have violated his, wudu. He must have been in the state of wudu. I had no right to suspect him. And now if a person comes to this sense, he has no other choice. Where do he go? He finds that Maulana. He doesn't know where he is. Now you don't have any place to run, and you don't have any place to go. How do you ask for an apology? Now you'll have to wait for the Yawm al-Qiyamah. You both are going to meet there, and then you are going to resolve your issue. This is how intense sometimes these problems get. And this is problem after another problem after another problem. These issues are serious. Now sometimes, let me just come to the cure. Two important cures which we have in narrations. Some of the scholars who talk about these ethical issues, they say in this very ayah which I just recited at the beginning of my lecture, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ijtanibu kathiran min adh-dhanni inna ba'd adh-dhanni ithmun. Ulama, they say, wala tajassasu, one, don't spy on each other. This wala tajassasu, don't have this feeling of spying over each other, trying to find out the secrets of other people. What is happening in other family, it does not concern you. From where that person is bringing money does not concern you. How he is doing his business does not concern you. Spying on others is again a sin. So the scholars, they say this spying on others, this feeling is going to give rise to su'al dhann. If a person wants really to spy on other people, it is going to give the rise to su'al dhann. And the second important thing that Imam says, husnul dhanni asluhu min husni iman al-mar'. Imam says that husnul dhann is related to the strength of iman. So if we strengthen our iman, husnul dhann is going to come in, and su'al dhann is going to go off and perish. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq in this holy month to purify our hearts from the diseases that we are discussing from. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure all those people who are ill and who are sick, especially the lovers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wassalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect Muslims around the world, around the globe, who are in distress. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count us all amongst the companions of the Imam of our time, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.